give all of us as elected officials the patience, experience, and not political sides. Thank you again for all that you do for us, and bless you.
Joe Anglin.
Here.
Joe John Baker.
Present.
Audra Connor. Kara Cowan.
Ahani.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Meredith Fraley. Don Garvin. Charles Hoskin.
Here.
William Johnson.
Here.
John Keener.
Here.
Linda O'Leary. Jackie Von Martin. Milvana Shotkow. David Thornton. Phyllis Yargy.
We have 12 present. We have a quorum. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Should say not, N-O-T. Okay. Back to the approval of the minutes. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. Next is the State of the Nation. And the Chief could not make it, so I will read the notes for the State of the Nation tonight. First, we want to welcome you. Chief Smith sends his regards that he cannot be here tonight. Tomorrow morning, he is talking before a group at Harvard University in Boston on the economic growth and impact of the Cherokee Nation. He then goes to Washington, D.C. to testify before the House Appropriations Interior Subcommittee. He sends his apologies that he cannot be here tonight. And as we do every month, we want to start our regular business. Let us pause for a moment to recognize the loss of a few of our Cherokee citizens. David Garner, son of Cherokee Nathan Youth Shelter counselor Mona Garner Kelly. Lisa LaDawn Stop Pina, daughter of Margaret Raymond. Margaret Raymond is a member of our higher education staff. So would you please allow a moment of silence for them, please? And her father is here too, Billy Bob Stop. So let us please have a moment of silence for those Cherokees. Thank you. And now I would like to honor a man who has worked diligently for better housing for Native Americans and especially the Cherokee Nation. Ron Froman, will you step forward, please? Mr. Froman, I want to present you with a citation. It says, for valuable contributions to the Cherokee Nation housing programs, including the Indian Housing Plan, low-income housing tax credit projects, and Title VI program, sir. Present that to you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all very much.
And And this month we want to honor our boys basketball team who came back as runners-up in the state finals. Would the coach come down, please? Certificates for the boys, sir. Would you please stay here? We have something for you when you get through, sir. Bring them down.
Come on down. We had one or two that couldn't make it. We had one on the golf course and one that had car trouble and we had trouble getting here. This is Guy McDonald and Casey Quinton, Sonny Hall, TJ Hooper. This is Brett Red Kellogg. This is one of the most, this is our manager this year, really did a great job. Preston Moore, another TJ. We have a lot of these. TJ Scott, AJ Drywater, Ryan Tiroli. You don't want me to tell that story, do you? David Stopp, he helped us this year as a manager and just maybe a gopher. We won't say that. This is Derek Ross, Dale Weenie, Travis Boswell, smile, Jesse Factor, Jeff Elizondo, Justin Marshall, and Heath Warlock.
Can you get us in?
I don't know. Squeeze in a little bit. Some people in front.
I don't
That'd
really
be
need
good.
to be in it, but before this, get a picture of the boys, please.
Okay. There we go. That'd be great.
Coach Dryer. We also have my assistant coach, Coach Dryer. We also have our high school principal, Tony Dearman. Come on in, Mr. Dearman. Okay, thank you all.
Hey, Coach, would you mind staying, please?
Okay.
Now we would like to honor the coach, Mr. Larry Grigg, for this certificate. Excuse me, sir. It states congratulations on bringing home the silver ball from the state tournament. We are very proud of the team. Throughout the state tournament and throughout the season, they conducted themselves with class, dignity, and exhibited good sportsmanship and showed leadership. I'm also proud of the way the girls and boys teams supported and encouraged each other. In winning, they are magnanimous. In losing, and they are gracious. Advancing to the state tournament required hard work and training. Anticipating and pursuing this goal, many long hours were put in by the players, coaches, and staff. Along the way, there were many moments of frustration, challenge, fatigue, as well as moments of joy and exhilaration. All of these things are lessons and part of learning, a part of training, and a part of an effort to excel. Under your leadership, your team has earned these lessons very well. Thank you, Coach. This is for you. I can get my hand to work. That's yours. This is for Coach Dryer. Dryer? Is he here?
Yeah, he was Coach Dryer.
Coach, this is your certificate. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank all of you, too, for the fans.
And while we are talking about athletes, let me mention that a tribal member and Stillwell High School senior, Julian Garcia, recently made All-State in basketball. This is the first Stillwell student to be chosen for this honor since 1984. Jill's mother is Shirley McLean, purchasing manager for the Cherokee Nation. And is Julian here? Well, we thank her, or him. Community announcements. A reminder that Human Services Department's Elder Program is planning an Elder Powwow this Saturday on April 30th at the Cherokee Nation Cultural Grounds. And another reminder that our Spring JOM Student Awards Luncheon will be held April 14th at the Tulsa Marriott Southern Hills. The event is held to honor all Cherokee Challenge Bowl and JOM Creative Writing Contest winners and participants. The Trail of Tears Student Awards Banquet will be held on April 19th at the Tulsa Southern Hills Marriott. Tahlequah will welcome home the troops during a parade on Friday, April the 22nd. The parade starts at Sequoia High School and ends in downtown Tahlequah. The Oklahoma chapter of the National Trail of Tears Association is having their annual meeting in Bartlesville, Saturday, April 23rd at 10 p.m. at the Bartlesville History Museum. Among those honored that day will be Hilliard and Martha Fields Rogers, who were removed on the Trail of Tears from Georgia and Tennessee, respectively. Both the Fields and Rogers families settled in the Delaware District. Councilman Bill Johnson is a descendant of the Rogers family. Don't forget Strawberry Festival Parade, Saturday, May the 14th in Stillwell. I think every one of us is going to that. And thank you. That concludes the State of the Nation. And now we move on to the action of unfinished business. An act relating to Legislative Act 1601 relating to referendum and initiative measures. Mr. Crittenden.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last month, I think we had 13 council members present, and we unanimously passed this 1305 Legislative Act, and it was subsequently vetoed by Chief Smith. I just got a few things to say this evening. Within the Cherokee Constitution, the first power reserved of the people is the initiative petition to propose changes through legislation or amendments to the Constitution. The second power reserved is the referendum, whereby the voters can reverse any decision of the council. Any legal voter has a constitutional right to circulate a petition seeking signatures in support of a measure. A recent effort by some of our tribal citizens, they ran into several obstacles with their efforts, and this Act, 1305, sort of streamlined and made it much easier and gave them a direct way to get this type of thing done correctly. Each council member has a letter or a memo from our council, Mr. Hembry, where he says that Chief Smith stated in his veto reasoning that he had no constitutional reason or legal infirmity for the veto of the Legislative Act 1305. That's according to Mr. Hembry. We also have a letter just recently received that I believe Mr. Baker signed, or from him, stating reasons why we should override this veto. I see this act as an act directed, of the people, by the people, and for the people. I see no problem with it myself, and with that, having said that, I would move that I'd like to make a motion that we override the veto at this time.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please. Clarification. Clarification? Sorry. I'm sorry. A yea is to override the vote. The veto. A nay is to sustain the veto. Was that correct? A yea vote means you want to override the veto. A no vote means to sustain the veto. Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to have some discussion.
I've already gone through that, Bill. I'm sorry. Now for the vote. Roll call vote, please.
Bill England,
Nay.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Audra Connor, Kara Cowan,
No.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Meredith Fraley. No. Don Garvin. Charles Hoskin,
Yes.
William Johnson,
No.
John Keener,
Yes.
Linda O'Leary,
Yes.
Jacob Bob Martin,
No.
Elvina Shophouse,
Yes.
David Thornton, Phyllis Yarnge,
No.
The vote failed. The overriding of the veto has failed. The vote was 6 yeas, 8 nays, and we needed 10 nays to carry. And now we move on to committee reports. First, we have any tribal committee reports. Any tribal committee reports? Now we move on to monthly reports. The Housing Authority, Mr. David Sutherland.
Good evening. I have a brief report this evening. A regular board meeting for April will be held on the 19th at 5:30. The meeting, as always, is over at the Allen Hogner Conference Room at the Administration Building. One item that we're going to discuss is the restatement of the Housing Authority's 401k plan. The restatement brings the plan into compliance with any new laws passed by Congress that would affect the plan. The only item the trustees of the plan are recommending for change is the vesting schedule. Currently, the vesting is 100% vested after 5 years. We're recommending that they change that to 3 years. Another issue we're going to discuss is our Sallisaw office. We currently lease a building in Sallisaw, and although it's a nice building and a good location, it's not conducive to confidential counseling as needed with our clientele. We'll explore all options, but I think our first option is to construct something on the property we purchased a few years ago. That was our intention when we purchased it. We currently have a maintenance building and a vehicle pen on that property. Our Community Shield Insurance program currently has 1,954 families participating. If you have a community meeting and would like our staff to present information on the Community Shield program, let us know. They'll be happy to do that. That's my report for the evening. Answer any questions. If anyone has a question?
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cherokee Nation Enterprises, Mr. David Stewart. And I believe Mr. Taylor Keene is taking his place tonight.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Stewart sends his regards and regrets. Financial results for Cherokee Nation Enterprises are good. February is once again a record month in terms of both revenue and net income. Net income for February 05 is 69% higher than February of 04. February 05 net income is 67% higher than the previous month in January. Overall, our total employment is 2,695. Of that total, 53% are Cherokee citizenry. Of that total number, 65% are Native American. Finally, I'd like to make a brief introduction to Mr. Ed Hendricks. I know he's an item of resolution later in this meeting. And while not a tribal citizen, Mr. Hendricks brings a wealth of corporate knowledge and experience. Presently serving on 2 boards as the Audit Committee Chairman. Mr. Hendricks has significant experience as a Chief Financial Officer and holds a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Oklahoma. Subject to any questions, that's all I have to report.
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Well done.
Next, we have Cherokee Nation Industries. Mr. Jim Majewski.
Good evening, Deputy Chief Grayson and members of the council. Cherokee Nation Industries sales for the month of March were approximately $7 million. Income was $530,000, or about 180% greater than we were last year at this time. Sales for the first 9 months are $61 million, with profitability being about $2.5 million, which is about 35% higher than we were last year at this time. During the past month, CNI received its first housekeeping services contract from the U.S. Army at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. We employ about 100 people with this contract, and it's valued at over $15 million. Principal Chief Smith was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, to receive the contract for the Cherokee Nation. You'll also notice in your financials statements for March and April that our debt was reduced by approximately $6 million, and this was due to a contract that we have with ADC, and the terms of the contract for ADC to forgive approximately $6 million in debt. Along with this, the telecommunications group has either received orders or has new orders for the obsolete inventory of about $800,000. This means that we're starting to sell the obsolete inventory as well. So it's taken us a long time to finally get into this position, but I don't know if all of you remember, but we took a write-off in this inventory, so all of that will just be it's pure profit coming out of there right now. We have a chance to possibly sell the inventory, but this is being used on a project called Lightspeed for SBC, and so we've come up with a unique way to package the material, and SBC has bought into it. Our backlog is approximately $60 million. We have approximately $100 million in open quotes. And we should start delivering the air conditioners, the pre-air conditioners, within the next 2 weeks. So this is another area that gives us a new product. We've also started installing the truck air conditioners over in Tulsa and running a school to. These are units that fit on the back of big 18-wheel trucks and allows the trucks to run off of batteries and not idle. The trucker can typically pay for these things in about 6 months, and that was at gasoline or fuel oil at about $1.60 a gallon. So today it's a lot quicker. Our next board meeting, I believe, is April 28th at 9:30 a.m. It's either April 27th or 28th. It's been changed about 3 times, so I apologize for that. But I believe it's April 28th. Any questions?
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cherokee Nation Business Incorporated. Mr. Jim Carrington.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Grayson, Council, for having me again. As you might guess, I have a short report. We did have our first board meeting under my administration, so to speak, and I wanted to say thanks to Mr. Braley and Mr. England and Mr. Johnson for representing the council at that meeting and participating. We appreciate your help in that regard every time, as usual. Cherokee Connects continues to be a small company that's growing, still has a few customers, has a robust network, and we continue to expect growth as usual, and I look forward to an opportunity to continue to report on that as it grows. We would like to point out the fact that Mr. Mike Miller has joined CNB. We've managed to steal him away from the nation. He will continue to provide services, as all of CNB does, in the form of shared services, to the nation, to CNE, to CNI. So we appreciate his joining our company. And I would say that concludes our report, except for the fact that Mr. Keene had to harass me about how short my report is. I really have nothing to say. So with the addition of Mr. Miller, If you win, I'd like to now point out that we have 2 Cherokees, and that means we are 200% Cherokee, although math doesn't work that way. Here's my report if you have questions.
Any questions? Any questions? Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for your time.
Now we move on to new business. First item is a resolution approving the authorization of a submission of a revised fiscal year Indian housing plan. Ms. Schotthouse.
This is a resolution approving and authorizing the submission of revised fiscal year 2004 Indian Housing Plan to U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The change is changing it from March to expenses from March through May, extended to March through May. So I'll put that in form of motion. Second.
Motion's made, seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 2 is a legislative act relating to and amending Legislative Act 3704, authorizing a comprehensive budget for 2005. Mrs. O'Leary.
Yes, that's Lot 7, and this is giving another budget authority of 1.9 million, a little over, and it has a lot of carryovers balanced into this. There's no technical problems with this, or no problems at all. Put that forward in the motion.
Motion made, seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Roll call, vote, please.
Bill Georgie,
Yes.
David Thornton, Yvonne Schotthouse, Jacob Bob Martin,
Yes.
Linda O'Leary,
Yes.
John Keener,
Yes.
William Johnson,
Yes.
Charles Hoskins,
Yes.
Tom Garvin,
Yes.
Mary Fraley,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Terry Cowan,
Yes.
Audrey Connor,
Yes.
Bill Baker,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yes. The vote is unanimous. The act passed. Item number 3 is a resolution amending Resolution 8204, authorizing the placement of land in trust, Will Rogers Down property. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. President. This attached resolution authorizes the placement in trust of a tract of land containing 260 acres, more or less. The land is located approximately 5 miles east of Claremore, Oklahoma, along the north boundary of Oklahoma State Highway 20, and I move for approval.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing approval of oil and gas lease on the Arkansas riverbed. Mr. Martin.
This is a resolution approve an oil and gas lease on Arkansas riverbed land described in the legal contained area, and I move for approval. If there's any questions, we're hoping Mr. Hoteek would be here.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. Item number 5 is a resolution authorizing approval of oil and gas lease in Sedonia Energy Incorporated. Councilman Martin.
Move for approval, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried. Item number 6 is the resolution amending Resolution 32-4, a business lease for communication tower on trust land in Adair County.
The attached resolution is request for an approval of an amendment for Resolution 32-04 for the communication tower in Adair County, Oklahoma. The height of the tower has been changed from 200 feet tower to 135 feet. Monopole tower therefore will require less acreage and has been moved approximately 200 feet, and I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 7 is a resolution authorizing approval of an oil and gas lease. Cherokee Nation fee land. Councilman Martin.
The request set forth in the attached resolution is for an oil and gas lease to Chesapeake Exploration Limited Partnership on Cherokee Nation land, fee land in Stephen County. Description is there, and if there are any questions, Linda Donaldson is here, and I would move for approval.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any questions or discussions? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carried. Item number 8 is a resolution authorizing real estate and natural resources departments to conduct logging activities on tribal property. Councilman Martin.
I would move for approval, and I don't see Pat Gwynn here, but if there are any questions, Ms. Donaldson could probably help us with some answers. Move for approval.
Motion made, seconded. Any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Roll call vote.
Bill England,
Yes.
Bill Baker. Yes. Audra Connor. Yes. Tara Cowan. Yes. Joe Crittenden.
Yes.
Meredith Fraley. Yes. John Garvin. Yes. Charles Hoskin.
Yes.
William Johnson.
Yes.
John Keener.
Yes.
Linda O'Leary. Jacob Bob Martin.
Yes.
Nobody Shoptown. No. David Thornton. Phyllis Yarnge. Yes.
Motion carried 13-1. Item number 9 is an act relating to solid waste, amending Title 63. Mr. Martin.
This is a lengthy piece of legislation, and I see Ms. Hale here. If there's any question about this was discussed at length in our committee meeting, but the Cherokee Nation Solid Waste Code will provide a comprehensive system for regulating solid waste, including permits and operating requirements for disposal sites such as municipal solid waste landfill, industrial waste disposal site, rulemaking authority and enforcement provision. It is necessary to update existing law in order to have a program adequate for handling existing and future solid waste facilities on tribal land. I would move for approval.
Motion is made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Are there any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Phyllis Yarnge. Yes. David Thornton. Nobody Shoptown. Yes. Jacob Bob Martin.
Yes.
Linda O'Leary. Yes. John Keener.
Yes.
William Johnson.
Yes.
Charles Hoskin.
Yes.
John Garvin.
Yes.
Meredith Fraley. Yes. Joe Crittenden.
Yes.
Tara Cowan. Yes. Audra Connor. Yes. Bill Baker.
Yeah.
Bill England.
Yes.
The vote was unanimous. The act passed. Item 10 is an act relating to and amending Legislative Act 2304. Ms. Fraley.
This act authorizes the principal chief to execute limited waivers of sovereign immunity. I was unsure of this legislation when it was first presented to us, but I've thought about it a lot and talked to our attorneys, and And the main idea behind the waiver is it's limited to the performance of the contract and damages to the assets of the particular company that is involved. For instance, a proposed strategy, and Mr. Carrington is here if you have any questions also. A proposed strategy would be to form an LLC or limited liability company according for each different standard industry code or business code. And all liabilities fall on a particular LLC. Consequently, we'll only transfer enough assets to that LLC in order to make our bidding for these government contracts more attractive. If we breach the terms of the contract with the federal government and our insurance or bonding is exhausted, then in that event, only the corporation can be held liable for held liable and its assets attached, not CNI, not CNE, not CNB, and more importantly, not the Cherokee Nation government. So a fact I must remind myself each time we pass one of these is that we aren't giving up sovereignty, we're exercising our sovereignty for a specific purpose. And in this case, it's for business development. And I thought a lot about this, and I would move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Ms. O'Leary.
Yes, I'd like for our attorney to speak to that, an opinion on this.
Yes, this is an act amending the original Sovereign Immunity Waiver Act, which this amendment is just going to include 8A companies and include the language of sue and be sued requirements that are under 8A contracts. Other than that, I mean, any waiver of sovereign immunity from the Cherokee Nation must have council approval, and that's why this is in the form of an act that must be passed by the tribal council.
One more question. In the future, all these LLCs that's being set up, it's new within this council here. Are those LLCs harder for questions to be asked by the council as to where funds are going, where funds are restricted, appropriation, insight into that? Are those LLCs harder to get in to see where management, what's happening with our monies for the Cherokee people?
Well, anytime you have a corporation that's separate from the nation itself, yeah, there's going to be more, I won't say difficulties, but it's not as if their council funds it themselves, where the council has the opportunity to go into it. However, that being said, it's my opinion that there's not a document in this complex or in this government that is not available to Cherokee Nation tribal councilors through either the Freedom of Information Act or the Governmental Records Act.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you, Todd. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Bill Anglin?
Yes.
Bill Baker?
Yes.
Audra Connor?
Yes.
Kara Cowan?
Yes.
Joe Crittenden?
Yes.
Meredith Fraley?
Yes.
Don Garvin?
Yes.
Charles Hoskin?
Yes.
William Johnson?
Yes.
John Keener?
Yes.
Linda O'Leary?
Yes.
Jacob Bob Martin?
Yes.
Melvin Choctaw?
No.
David Thornton? Phyllis Yargy?
Yes.
The act passed 13-1. Item 11 is a resolution confirming the nomination of Mr. Ed Hendricks as board member of the Cherokee Nation Enterprises Board of Directors. Ms. Fraley.
Yes, Mr. Hendricks is here in case anyone has any questions of him. He has significant business experience, not only in executive management and financial management, and I believe we're fortunate that Mr. Hendricks is interested in serving and ensuring that CNE is a well-run company, and I move for approval of his nomination.
Second. Motion is made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion approved. Would you stand, Mr. Hendricks, if you're here, please? Thank you, sir. 12 is a resolution confirming the nomination of Jay Edward as a board member of the Cherokee Nation Industry Board of Directors. Ms. Fraley.
Yes, another individual. We're very fortunate. He was not able to be here tonight due to a previous commitment, but we're fortunate to be able to attract him as a board member of CNI and its Major General Jay Edwards. He's a graduate of West Point and holds a master's degree in aeronautical engineering. He spent 28 years in the Air Force, and he'll have valuable input and advice in helping CNI win those defense contracts, which those people over there are really good at performing. And I would move for his approval.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, no? Motion passed. You have to be board member. Item 13 is an act to employees of the Cherokee Nation or its wholly owned corporations termination and appeals procedure. Ms. Fraley.
This is the act that was remanded to rules for further analysis, and it provides authority for the award of back pay and benefits to employees who have been terminated but are subsequently reinstated after a successful appeal review by a review board or judicial appeal tribunal. It does not cover employees who have limited term contracts, employment agreements, or independent contractors, nor does it include employees with specialized authorities created by legislatures, such as, for instance, the Arkansas Riverbed Trust Authority, and I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Bill Anglin?
Yes.
Bill Baker?
Yes.
Audra Connor?
Yes.
Tara Cowan?
Yes.
Joe Crittenden?
Yes.
Meredith Fraley?
Yes.
Don Garvin?
Yes.
Charles Hoskin?
Yes.
William Johnson?
Yes.
John Keener?
Yes.
Linda O'Leary? Jacob Bob Martin?
Yes.
Giovanni Shopkow?
Yes.
David Thornton? Phyllis Jordan?
Yes.
Vote was unanimous. The act passed. Are there any announcements?
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Audra.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to take this opportunity to remind you of some events coming up this week. The 33rd Annual Symposium of the American Indian is being hosted at NSU this week. If you'd like more information, I think they follow up with a powwow on Saturday. Lots of different speakers coming in, and it's free, so, if you can stop by there. For more information, you can call the Center for Tribal Studies. Also, the Cherokee Heritage Center is going to host a work day in the Ancient Village on May 7th and 28th. And, of course, I'll remind you of this next month's meeting also. But there are three of us council members, Kara Cowan and Don Garvin, who've committed to, and myself, to being there and volunteering and helping. So we welcome anyone to come out and put your work clothes on and put your gloves on, and let's do some improvements and things that need to be fixed up there. And also, just a reminder, the Elders Powwow coming up at the Cultural Ground on the 30th of April. Get everybody out there. It is a fundraising event. Thank you.
Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to remind the folks that our Resource Committee meeting and a Rules Committee meeting will be at Loniger Shop in the morning. First meeting starts at 9, but the most important thing is we'll have fish fry after the two meetings.
Mr. Garvin.
thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow evening, 6:30 in Muskogee Public Library, we're having our monthly community meeting, and we're going to be talking about our new joint venture health clinic. It's only one of 4 in the United States, so it's quite an honor to have that in the Cherokee Nation, and we just kind of want to talk to the people about that, and you're invited to attend. Just tell your friends that we're lucky to have this. It could have been somewhere else, but we have it here in the Cherokee Nation. One of 4 in the United States, and it's here. Thank you.
Ms. Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
on the May work days for the Heritage Center. Another thing to add is if you can't physically be with us, they do need cash or in-kind donations for the materials that we'll be using to repair the ancient village that day. So if you have anything you can donate, or items that can be used in the ancient village during tours, some of those things will be done that day as well by kids or anybody that brings their shopping. In addition, the Rogers County Cherokee Association is meeting tomorrow night, Tuesday, April 12th at 7 p.m. in the Fair Board Building on the Claremore Expo grounds. And we'd love to have anyone come join us. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Mr. Franklin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to invite anybody that's going to be in District 8 tomorrow night. We're having a monthly community meeting in Collinsville at the Trinity Church there on Main Street, right across from the Silver Dollar Restaurant. So anybody that's in town, welcome to come by.
Mr. President, I make a motion we adjourn.
I second.
Before we adjourn, I want to make the announcement for the next meeting. It's going to be May the 16th at 6 o'clock. Motion was made that we adjourn. Was there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Meeting adjourned.